Hi, TOT Carlson here, and we've had another great year of home video releases. Now we've arrived at the end of 2023, and I'm going to rank a few of my favorites. I was debating whether I should do a separate list for classic films that got released this year on home video, or just a list of newer films. So I decided I'd do both. So what this video is going to be, I'm going to name my top 5 home video releases of new films that came out on home video this year, and my top 5 classic films that came out on home video this year. Only criteria is these have to be physical releases, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. I think everything that made it onto the list is 4K. It has to be an individual film release. It cannot be a box set. I actually did a separate video for box sets already. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll start with my top 5 releases of newer films that came out on home video this year. And again, this is based on a combination of factors. Quality of the film, quality of the release, additional features on the package. Here we go. At number 5 on my list of new films that made it onto home video this year, I have the 4K release of Megan. This movie was one of my biggest surprises of 2023. And when I do a list of my top movies of the year, this will certainly be on there. Just a great sort of technological thriller. I mean, you might look at this one and think it's some sort of Child's Play ripoff, but really the movies couldn't be more different. Movies about technology run amok are nothing new, but this was certainly a fun and, of course, violent twist on this formula. So I really enjoyed this one, and the 4K looks absolutely great. At number 4 on this list, I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I mean, you can't get away from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, they were a thing when I was a little boy. And now we have the franchise rebooted again with this great new animated film, and the animation style is very unique, and it certainly pops on the 4K Ultra High Def format, so I absolutely love what I'm seeing here, and it's a great film that I think people of all ages will enjoy, whether you're a nostalgic fan yearning for the old days of the Turtles, or you're somebody who's a young person and you're just curious about the franchise. It's a great reboot, very action-packed, very funny, and features some beautiful animation. At number 3 on this list, I have Prey. Technically, this was released to Hulu last year, but it didn't get its home video release until this year, so I think it's new enough that it falls under this category. This is easily the best release in the Predator franchise since the original 80s film, and I'm very pleased with what I see here. It features a career-defining performance from young Amber Mid-Thunder, who I hope goes on to a great and promising career, and it lacks a lot of the camp and questionable decisions of some of the other films in the Predator franchise. So it's the great return to form that this series needed, and I'm looking forward to see if we see any sort of continuation of this on the big screen or even straight to streaming in the future. At number 2 on the list of new films hitting home video, I have the 4K release of Oppenheimer. Now, I will be honest, I don't think this movie is quite the masterpiece people think it is, but it is a very well-made, well-produced film. Certainly the most ambitious movie that Christopher Nolan has ever created, and it looks absolutely beautiful on the 4K format. I mean, you have beautiful scenery ranging from the outdoor expanses of Los Alamos to the inside of labs where testing on atomic technology takes place. On top of that, there's even some scenes with absolutely beautiful black and white photography. The movie, I have a feeling, is going to get a lot of consideration come Oscar season, and this 4K is the absolute best way for you to experience the film. And my pick for number 1 for a new release of a film on home video that is a newer film is going to be Mission Impossible 7. Mission Impossible is that rare franchise that seems to get better with each passing installment. Tom Cruise is still acting as hard out as Ethan Hunt, and this is one of the most ambitious and intense adventures yet. This movie never feels like it's padded or bloated, and it justifies its lengthy runtime, but you will find yourself yearning for the next installment, which of course may very well be delayed due to all the writing strikes that have been going on in Hollywood. And there you have it for my top 5 home video releases of new films. Now we're going to get to my top 5 releases of classic films that hit home video formats this year. And there's a lot of classic films that come out. Of course, I probably have more classics in my collection than I do newer films, but let's go ahead and get started. Number 5 on this list from Kino Lorber, I have The Night of the Hunter. This great film noir starring Robert Mitchum, and of course the only film directed by legendary actor Charles Laughton. It's a great, deep, suspenseful film, and a lot of people, of course, complain about how they don't think 4K is going to make black and white films look any better. Well, This may very well be the best looking black and white film I've ever seen on the 4K format, so it's one of those that can certainly shut up the naysayers there. Absolute highest recommendations. At number 4, I have Roadhouse, released by Vinegar Syndrome. Yes, this film is a little campy and dated, and it's more or less a Western transposed into a modern setting, but everybody has a good time with their parts. It's a well-produced movie, and of course, one of the greatest performances from the late Patrick Swayze. And the movie looks absolutely gorgeous in this package from Vinegar Syndrome, one of those boutique labels that never fails to please, and it's a must-have for any fan. At number 3 on the list, I have the 4K release of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This was an import, but again, imports are allowed on my list. So this was a classic silent film, very spooky, haunting, surreal. In many ways, you might even consider this the first real horror film. And the movie, it's one that has many interpretations due to its ambiguous ending, and of course the very haunting images and the very creepy set design. This movie speaks for itself, and it really needs to be experienced. Any fan of cinema should see and certainly own this one. At number 2 on this part of my list, I have Barbarella from Arrow Video. This, of course, being a very campy, very dated film, but it's certainly stylish and sensational, and one of the greatest performances of Jane Fonda's career. Certainly doesn't hurt that she gets naked in a few scenes. It is a gorgeous looking film, and this 4K transfer is easily the best this movie has ever looked. The surreal set designs and colorful images really pop off the screen, and whether you consider this one a masterpiece or a dated relic, you won't be able to argue with Arrow's 4K home video picture quality. And my pick for the best release on home video of a classic film for the year, also from Arrow Video, The Warriors. This was one I was greatly looking forward to. I've always loved this film, and of course, there are elements that are campy and dated, but it's a great R-rated thriller featuring a gang on the run on the way back to their home turf of Coney Island when they're falsely accused of murdering another gang leader. There's twists and turns and surprises around every corner. It's sort of a dystopian look at what they thought the future would look like back then, although it's really not too far removed from the actual New York City of the day. This one features some great performances from various actors, and even when it borderlines on camp, it's still a lot of fun. Arrow Video gives this one the royal treatment, and it's never looked better. And those are my picks for the top 5 home video releases of vintage films and of modern films. What was your favorite home video release of the year, old or new? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm T.Carlson. I'll see you next time.